Hello and welcome to another discussion video. I've been really getting into these lately. I record these in the morning where I'm really more energetic in terms of my thoughts, and especially with some coffee. And yesterday a topic came up once again, and that has to do with Morgott's low HP criticism. And I really like having these discussions because they fascinate me, because they usually just end so abruptly. And so all this started when a YouTuber, Germigurg, I'm sure it's pronounced something differently, posted a video about Elden Ring's most underrated boss with a question mark, an analysis, and this YouTuber criticized the low HP amount for Morgott. Actually, I kind of predicted it even before I watched the video. I just knew that the HP was going to be criticized, so I even posted my comment before I even finished the video. I was just that confident in, oh yeah, he's this guy's definitely going to mention Morgott's low HP, because I just know that's a very common criticism. But of course, I finished the video just in case, and nothing changed. No other points were brought up. And that's really the biggest problem about this criticism, is the fact that nothing else is compared. And as you'll see in these comments, no one really has a good rebuttal. So my comment was, it's so strange how Morgott is criticized for having a low HP amount, but Malekith gets a pass, and that's when you're even more powerful. And so the uploader said, he doesn't get a pass for me. So, however, I asked the YouTuber about Godfrey, Radagon, and Elden Beast. As we know, Godfrey has 20,000 and Radagon has 10,000. Elden Beast has 20,000. And so I'm wondering, based on I did a rune level 2 run, and it was actually quite generous. Radagon melts very quickly. Oh, sorry, but correction, Radagon has 13,000. I believe the whole entire fight has 30,000 if you combined as a whole fight itself. So yeah, Elden Beast has 22,000. So just in general. But rune level 2 is very generous. The reason why I do rune level 2, because it's really funny to me, and I like seeing everybody's reaction to, why didn't you just do rune level 1? What's going on? Because I'm like, it doesn't matter. That's why. And so I asked, this is where usually people do not respond. I've actually have not gotten a response from this question. What about Godfrey, Radagon, and Elden Beast? Because in comparison, in my opinion, these bosses are just as easily exploitable as Malekith and Morgott when you itemize correctly for your build. So the first, I've had discussions with barbecue cheese before, and this kind of went off topic about just a little bit. I just really wanted to see, this is what this commenter said. I don't know where this complaint comes from, to be honest. It's simply a feature in From Software based content, to be honest. I'm currently playing through Dark Souls 3 New Game Plus at SOLO4LIFE, and I beat the dancer in about 1 minute and 40 seconds. It's very common for them to undertune the HP on their bosses, particularly when they are on the more complex side. Pontiff and Champion Gunter also fit within this reasoning. I guess I just don't think of it as much of an issue as people claim, nor do I think it's unique to Elden Ring. Sorry, I'm annoying. And so I asked, how much itemization are you using? Response, what do you mean, like buffs, pine resin and such? None. And then I asked, what was your total attack power for that fight exactly? The response, I don't know. Where do you see that? I can link the video if you want. And then the attack power is mentioned to be 330, which is actually quite high for the dancer, even on New Game Plus. You're looking at an average of about 20 strikes for the dancer. And so the link was finally sent. I responded with, just watch, very nice. The dancer looks so slow these days. You are using itemization, by the way, upgrading your weapon and using rings. So my follow-up is, do you think the average player is going to perform that way, plus have the itemization knowledge to boost damage like that on a playthrough? And then had someone else chime in Malekith is designed from the ground up as a glass cannon. He hits hard enough to make up for his fragility, and his toolkit is required to overwhelm an unprepared player. Morgott's low HP, on the other hand, doesn't make sense in the context and isn't balanced with other qualities, and this is why he's universally recognized as an undertuned boss, while Malekith is not. And then I responded with, what about Godfrey, Radagon, and Elden Beast? But this right here, I think is a very weak argument. It sounds like speculation from lore, which is already, like, well, obviously speculative. There's nowhere saying, I haven't seen anywhere, no proof or any kind of source saying that Malekith is supposed to be weak. It's just, this might come from some kind of popular YouTuber on the Elden Ring lore, perhaps. Therefore, this might be where it comes from, because I just don't see this anywhere online. Maybe I'm just not researching it properly. So the question I asked this commenter, what about Godfrey, Radagon, and Elden Beast? And spoiler alert, he does not answer this question. So Barbecue Cheese comes back in saying, I've never heard it referred to that way, referring to itemization. And the commenter said, I thought you meant items. I'm like, well, I mean, those are items. Upgrading your weapon requires items. Rings are items. So I don't really know what this commenter meant by that. Well, obviously, no, I don't. However, in the same respect, I don't think the average player is going to know how to fight Malekith and Radagon on their first playthrough either. And then I answered with, precisely. And I'll get back to this point just to wrap up. Malekith, a third commenter came in and said, Malekith is capable of two-shotting over 2,000 HP builds with insanely fast true combos, not to mention how few openings he has compared to Morgott. And then I asked what the point was exactly, because I don't really know what the point is here. Yeah, I mean, sure, the boss can be very powerful, but anyway. So, my point about this, and I'm about to show some video, is once you know how a boss fight works, you know all the manipulation tactics, all the free spacing you can do, observe the attack telegraphs very well, the boss fight is going to take significantly less time. That's just naturally how all the games work. And I think that there's a common self-awareness that people don't realize how much better they've gotten at the game. If you look up blind playthroughs, people struggle. People struggle a lot. However, when people that are experienced with the game see people that are struggling, I suppose it makes them cringe, saying, oh, I can't believe you got hit by that attack. I mean, that attack is so easy to dodge. I'm like, you do realize that this person's brand new. No one's going to walk into a boss fight knowing exactly what to do. That's why I always just, I personally cringe whenever I see people talking about, oh, I got a boss on the first attempt. Okay, I mean, the majority of that is luck-based. I mean, I'm not saying there's no skill involved. You're applying some kind of knowledge into general information about how boss fights work, but you don't know what a boss fight is going to do. Therefore, there is a wall of a luck percentage, a high luck percentage. You get through it. That's why a lot of people are just so excited about it, because it's just it's like them winning one of those games in a casino. All that is luck based, and when they win, oh my goodness, I got it. And that's just, it's the same thing to me, in my opinion. So just first attempts, I'm like, oh, you got, that just tells me you got lucky. That's all it is. And I don't know, a lot of people might get mad at me about that, but that's just how I look at it. I really don't care about first attempt defeats. I just don't. I know I have some friends, and I'm going off subject here. I'll be real quick. Some of my friends that will ask me, how many times did it take for you to defeat that boss? And I'll tell them I don't pay attention to that. I'm studying the boss, seeing how the boss works. And that's all I care about. I am not aiming to defeat a boss on the first attempt. I just don't like doing that, because I like studying. I like getting more out of this boss. I like squeezing almost every single drop out of it. But anyway, I got a few playlists. I just picked a random guy on YouTube for a blind playthrough that's done it recently. See, this is 6 months ago. From what I understand, this YouTuber is still going through Elden Ring. Let's see. And this is his experience with Morgott. Now, in context, this guy has fought Morgott before on another video. So this YouTuber has a lot of already has previous experience, and you'll see what he says in this video.
That we are. It doesn't feel like we are hamstrung nearly as much as we were the first time around against. God damn it, we're out of range. Can you please step closer, my friend?
Look how much itemization he has. Frenzied Burst. I think he has Flame Give Me Strength, whatever that's called. I'm not sure what that shield. You'll have to forgive me. I don't really use a bunch of stuff like this in the game, so I'm not. My knowledge on whatever these things are is very low. I don't know if this YouTuber looked up things or just found stuff based on exploration. It's just trying things out.
Step the fuck closer. This is not bad though. We are getting some free chip damage here.
As you can see, he's doing 900 per strike here, and we'll definitely make a comparison later.
I like this. I also
want to mention that this player is also kind of using a rather tanky build as well. So the player's not getting up in Morgott's face. He's just more of waiting for an opening instead of just. I mean, that's how a lot of new players work. They just want to keep their distance, and therefore, when that happens, actually, it's funny. When you stand away from the boss, you're going to see a lot of combat value. And when you're close to the boss, you see less combat value. That's very evident with Elmer the Briar. And Melania and Moog, that's just how it works. Godfrey. Actually, Godfrey shows more combat value in general, not just from range. So, yeah, scratch that. Godfrey actually shows a lot without you having to be. It's not a lot. I don't really think he has any distance-based attacks, if I'm correct. But anyway,
I feel like there's a very particular pattern that those holy blades are descending. They don't really move around. They're kind of in like a star-shaped pattern, I think, and that's it.
And you can even see he's still trying to figure things out, even though he's fought Morgott on a previous video somewhere. He's still trying to analyze and decide what he wants to do with certain scenarios. This player does not approach those falling swords at all. And once you know how Morgott works, eventually you can go in for a stagger. Of course, you have to read it properly. You have to, in your mind, figure out how many strikes you have performed for the stance break.
Okay.
And also, one thing that I've noticed, this has a huge opening right here. Once the geysers calm down, you can go in and get you can punish this moment very, very well right here. And I think a lot of players still don't know about that, because once those initial geysers pop up, you're free to go in and just get Morgott right here. Yeah.
Oh, that was it. That was my whoops. I'm out of.
Yeah, and there probably could have been a stance break right there.
Stained by my curse.
His sword looks badass.
I cannot bear.
Why are the thrones?
Shall not be forgiven.
Why are the thrones stained by his curse? I need stamina. I need stamina so bad. Dude, that is a badass fucking sword.
Yeah, I mean, as you can see, this player's struggling a lot. Morgott is throwing all kinds of crazy combos, and the combat value is fully fleshed out here. I don't think there's really one attack that's missing. There might be a couple. Sometimes an attack just doesn't show up, and that's just how it is. But for the most part, I think about maybe 90 to 95% of Morgott's combat value is actually here, which is enough. You don't want to fight the boss for too long.
I think I just barely dodged that. Let me get some stamina.
And there's also some that I believe there is a well, no, never mind. Forget I said anything. He could have gone in and defeated. He could have gone in and ended the fight there. There is plenty enough health. Just the and I don't think the swords do that much damage really. He might have walked away with a slither of health, but there you go.
Oh, we killed him.
The surprise on his face, you can tell how much he was concentrating, because a lot of times if you're just really immersed into the fight, you're not paying attention to the health bar sometimes. And so that's why playing without a heads-up display is really good, because you don't know where the boss is health at. I mean, you can get an idea once the phase transitioning starts, but this player apparently wasn't looking at the health bar, but it's a surprise and satisfaction on his face.
I did not realize he was that low on health. We do so much more damage than we did the first time against this motherfucker.
Did you hear that? This dude fought Morgott before. I don't know how long ago, but he wasn't doing enough damage to be comfortable with Morgott. So he went out, explored, and got what he wanted. More damage. He got more damage to comfortably kill Morgott. So this low HP argument does not hold up to me. And I can probably pull up more examples for sure. And it's funny, I'm pretty sure I can find someone out there saying, oh, I fought Morgott so many times I had to go out and re-explore. And then when they finally and when they finally defeated Morgott, they'll probably say something like, well, this HP is pretty low for this point, don't you think? I'm like, what? You went out to get more... you went out to itemization to boost your attack power. Make up your mind. Either you were doing little damage at first, or you're doing the whatever. It's so strange to me. So we're going to fast forward to his fight with Malekith. And by the way, his satisfaction is way deeper here. Even though based on the footage, he spent less time on Malekith compared to Morgott, which is why you're going to see that he's less comfortable fighting Malekith here, because just right here he's fighting the Draconic Tree Sentinel, so he gets that dude out of the way. Let's see what 213. Let me make sure this is his first approach to the boss.
We're gonna where are we?
Yes, there's dialogue. So this is his first approach to the boss. Therefore, he doesn't spend as much time with Malekith compared to Morgott. All right, so this is his defeat.
I thought I could deflect it. I tried to go for a Blasphemous Claw.
This is his
I thought I could deflect it. I don't know.
And yeah, as you can see, he's doing about the same amount of damage as Morgott. 836. I mean, just a tiny little slither less than a hit with Morgott. You also got to think, you got to remember, about the damage negation for Malekith is higher, 40% magic, fire, lightning. I'm not exactly sure. You have to forgive me, I don't know much about the stuff he's using, so I don't know what type of damage. But still, I mean, I don't think it's holy damage, so it's either fire, magic, or lightning. It's probably fire, Black Flame, obviously. So it's more than likely fire. It seems obvious to me now, but you never know. It could look like fire, but it applies magic. The From Software games can be weird like that. The thing about Malekith, though, is you got to take advantage of him close range. If you stay him at this distance, he's gonna be very aggressive. But if you, for some reason, when you're on top of Malekith, just staying on top of his body, he retreats a lot. But if you stay in front of him, he stays on you a lot. That's one thing I've definitely noticed from watching this video, because it seems like my experience and this player's experience is vastly different. Especially this flurry of attacks happens a lot more often when you're just in front of him at this distance. So I'm running out of time here. I'll go ahead and fast forward to where he actually defeats Malekith. But look at the satisfaction on his face when he does it. It's always nice to see. Regardless on your playstyle, it's the satisfaction. Look at that satisfaction, that head nodding and eyes closed with the mouth clenched up. Look at that. Oh, I feel so happy for the guy. Oh, that moment of silence with the hands over your mouth moment. Oh, and that little sigh of relief. But anyway, this is why I get so irritated by people just kind of shoving their playstyles in other people's faces. Look at this. Look at a moment like this. This person's not going for a challenge. He just wants to defeat the boss in general. He's not going after any no damage. I mean, he's doing, yes, he is going no summons. I'm pretty sure that's just his main goal for his blind playthrough. He doesn't want to summon. A lot of people do that. So that's really the only self-imposed challenge. But in terms of no damage, no, he's not doing that. He's obviously not doing any low-level runs. He's just playing the game, and the amount of satisfaction he has on it. Imagine the satisfaction he would get doing this without taking damage. But just the initial satisfaction, just defeating the boss that you've been struggling with. Just look at this guy's reaction and try to tell him how to play. I mean, you just look like a jackass. But I feel really happy for the guy. That's just, it's really nice to see something like that. It's very wholesome. So I had other points to mention, however, I'm just running out of time. I definitely wanted to show these two videos just to display why Morgott's health really does not matter at all. 10,000 is good enough. It's good enough. Malekith, I would say that if anything, Malekith's HP is actually too low. I think 20,000 would be good for Malekith, and just based on this footage, it didn't take the guy very long to learn how Malekith works. But the only thing you're doing is just extending that time, and I do want to process the information I've looked over a little bit more before I go into more depth. This definitely will have to be a two-parter because I have a lot more to go over, and plus I got to finish my little back and forth with these guys. Hopefully they continue to comment. The funny thing is that people never continue the conversation with me. They usually just end it. And as you can see, there's other tabs I didn't really get to, but I think I covered most. I was going to do some things on Reddit, but it doesn't really matter at this point. So, but let me know what you think about this. I definitely want to have this conversation. Most definitely. Change my mind. Is there something I'm missing? And I wouldn't really. I'm just going to warn you now, I wouldn't really go in the lore direction because it's so speculative. It's just, unless it just directly says something. If you're going to pull out lore definitely give me a source so I can read it over. Just don't say it's lore sourced, and just don't give me a link to anything. You got to give me links, because Elden Ring is a humongous game. I don't look into the lore, but overall I really don't think it matters that much. At the end, it is a boss, and I can go into so many other things related to just HP in general, especially with HP amounts in phases. For example, I think the Fire Giant's phases should be reversed. I think his defense should be higher in the first phase and defense should be weaker in the second phase, but also you should be fighting his arms, but still. Also, Star Scourge Radon, his little phase at the end is hardly ever seen because he barely has any health there, but also to really work against my own points that I made here, a lot of players are going to be, they are going to see that. So perhaps I am wrong in that department in terms of Radagon not having enough health for that little phase he has at the end, because I think a lot of new players are going to see that. I think what happened to me was I just studied the fight so much that I was so refined in my strategy that the fourth phase really just didn't show up for me, because I knew where to punish a lot of Radon's attacks. But anyway, I'm going to end it there. Let me know what you think, and we can continue this conversation, because I just don't really get a whole lot of people engaged with me on this. After I bring up a few points, it just ends, and I'm like, I haven't even gotten to my good points yet. So if you got, but anyway, I hope you guys have a great day, and hopefully I can see you in the comment sections. Goodbye.